That's a wrap from the 2018 NHL Draft in Dallas. I'm Jessica Kent with Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer from the Oilers Radio Network. This is the panel presented by Sport Chek. And guys, I think it's safe to say the Oilers picked up some really promising prospects this draft.
Well, you're always excited on this particular day because you feel like the draft broke your way. And for the Edmonton Oilers, after getting a right-handed shot D-man in the first round and Evan Bouchard at 10, which was a few spots lower than he was projected to go, the same thing happened in the second round, and they were able to pick up fleet-of-foot center iceman Ryan McLeod. He's a guy that was maybe a mid to late first round selection, skates a ton, productive player out of the Ontario Hockey League, knows Evan Bouchard quite well, having competed against him. And again, it seems like a value pick for Peter Chiarelli, Bob, but also filling a positional need after getting the D-man in the first round.
You know, Jack, you say everybody's hopes spring eternal, but there have been years with Oilers drafts, and I'll go back to 2007 when Edmonton took Alex Plante 15th, and I had concern with that pick at that time. I think I wrote at that stage that he had the foot speed of Jim Weimer. As it turned out, he didn't have the foot speed of Jim Weimer because he played under 20 NHL games and Weimer played 300. But I think Oilers fans are going to be really excited by the combination of those top three picks. You know, obviously Bouchard dropping to 10. Edmonton needed a right shot power play quarterback. The guy's already played 3 years of junior hockey in a pro environment in London. And then you get McLeod, who, as you mentioned, virtually every scouting agency had ranked somewhere between 15th to 30th. He can fly. And in this game today, you got to be able to wheel. And he can skate. And I'd suggest maybe a player like Eric Holla. I realize Holla was a later on draft pick, but Holla really emerged this season in Vegas. As you know, we used to think of him as a third-line center. He's a second-line center, and I think that McLeod can be a second/third-line center down the road. And then you have the goaltender in Olivier Rodrigue, and that's an interesting situation there. Obviously, the family connection, but the top-ranked goalie in the draft. So strength down the middle for the Edmonton Oilers.
And Jessica, another example in Rodrigue, a guy that maybe the Oilers were thinking about picking at 40. With their second-round selection, they trade up. They use picks 71 and 133 to move up to 62. The last pick, as it turned out, of the second round to get Rodrigue, the consensus #1 ranked goaltender in this draft, and a guy that was projected to be early to mid-second round. So again, you're getting a third consecutive guy a little bit lower down in the draft than perhaps you anticipated. And now, as Bob mentioned, you check off what you were looking for. You get your center iceman in the second round, you get your right-handed shot D-man, and now you've got yet another goaltending prospect to compete for a job 4 or 5 years down the road. And it's a good thing because it's a futuristic pick as well, because Rodrigue is technically solid. So any further reduction in pad sizes, he shouldn't have a problem. He's an athletic goaltender who plays post to post and handles his posts exceptionally well.
I know we picked up a nice mixed bag of positions here. Was there anything that really stood out this draft? Any big surprises that came our way?
Well, there weren't a lot of substantial trades until late in the day when the Flames got into it, obviously, with the Carolina Hurricanes. But the one thing I would say, for me, from an Edmonton perspective, sometimes less is more, and sometimes it's quality over quantity. We've seen a lot of volume picks in past years, and the Oilers, and you know, when you're talking 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, you're talking somewhere between 7 to 15% chance of maybe even getting to 30 games in the NHL. But you know, I like what the Oilers did with the first 2 rounds, and I think that's why I'll go back to the 2009 draft. Edmonton at 10 got Magnus Piarvi, and at 40 got Anton Lander. And neither guy ever established himself as anything more than a 4th-line NHL player. And, you know, I think that the Oilers have way more upside with their 2 picks. So from that end, I think it's pretty exciting.
My synopsis is blue and orange did very well this weekend. The New York Islanders, after Edmonton, got Dobson and Wallstrom 11-12, and then in the second round got Bodie Wild, a guy like McLeod who was projected to, at worst, go late in the first round. And Philadelphia had a nice draft, so it was a good day to be wearing Oiler colors, and Edmonton has to feel exceptionally good about what they got with 3 of the first 262 picks.
Thanks so much, guys. And that's a wrap from the 2018 NHL Draft.